Hi everyone, this is section 1, lesson 2. This is the back cover artwork. This is going to be a word picture, word. Like we did yesterday, we did the word design, because the purposes design was yesterday's lesson. Today's lesson is the purposes connection. And I just finished doing the artwork video for the front cover, which was a guy on his knees with a chain and a shield and God. So God is our shield. Our connection with God is our shield. So, Father, guide my hand, bring your Holy Spirit, fill this place, show me what you want to do in this project, in this piece. In Jesus' name. I kind of want to go with the theme of like having the word, like the purposes connection. So maybe if this is a word collage on the back, maybe it can be a word from all of the titles of the lessons. So we could do connection. Maybe if we separate the word connection and put a chain between it, maybe. That sounds pretty good. I would make like the word connection as a chain, but I don't, that's maybe just a bit too much. So we'll just sketch and see where we come up with. You know, one of the things I want to say while I'm doing this is whenever you're doing something creative for God, you really have to just allow him to work through you. And that is a part of just like surrendering yourself, saying, God, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please just do something cool? Do something cool through me. And he does all the time. Like 300, the other artwork I did, I was just like, God, I need you to move on this because I have no idea what you want me to do. And I don't know that these word pictures have to be super crazy. I wish the letters were a little thicker, but maybe we can just go with it. Oh. And don't be afraid to just do what God's asked you to do. I think that's like also the other part of this is that I want people to really just get is like, I don't know what I'm doing. God just said, I want you to do a curriculum. And I watched the videos from yesterday and I was like, okay, God, I see what you're doing now. And then when I watched the lesson video this morning for connection, I was just like, when I watched it back, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing. And so that encourages me to like continue because I know God's gonna show up and he's gonna do it. And all I've got to do is be obedient. And I got to trust him to provide for me. I've got to trust that he's going to cover all my bills and my rent and my lease is coming up. It's just, I have to trust him with so much right now, but I'm all in. I'm like, God, I'm all in. I'm all in. I just want to obey you. I'm done trying to do it my own way. I don't want to do it my own way because then you don't really get to experience God. And I love to work. I love to go to work and work a real job. That would be awesome. But it's not what God's called me to do. So I'm going to do this. Trust that he provides not only the skill and the ability to do it, but for all my bills and my rent and to just cover the things that I need in life. Because he's able. It's really funny because I was working a job for a little while here. I've had 4 jobs since I've been here. And every job is just falling apart. And I know every job, God was like, I don't want you doing this. I want you writing the books. And I was like, well, thanks God. I need to pay my bills. And so finally the last job was starting to fall apart again for the fourth time. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. This is not working. And one day I'm like, I pray and I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. This isn't working. I need a really clear word from you about what I'm supposed to do. So I'm at work, running a cash register, minding my own business. It's like 10:30 in the morning, and this guy comes in, and I check him out. He bought like a soda or something, and I think it was around Christmas time, and I was like, Merry Christmas. And so he walks off, and then he turns around and he comes back and he looks me in the face, and he's literally like, don't work. That's what God says. Don't work. And I was just so, I was like, my mouth is probably hanging open. And I look at him just like, I knew God was speaking. And I was just frozen in this moment. And he looks at me and he's like, don't work. That's what God says. Don't work. And God also, and if God says don't work, he's got something really good for you. And then this guy disappears, walks out and disappears. And I'm just standing there like, okay. I'm like, at that point, when God sends you such a specific word, specific answers, and I hear God's voice, but sometimes with big decisions in my life, I'm like, okay, God, give me a little bit more hint. So I put my 2 weeks notice in, I quit my job, and I've just been trusting him ever since, like, to provide for everything that I need. And it was like a month. I was just writing the 7 books, and I was like, okay, God, I'm like, is this all you're going to have me do? I've been here for a year and a half. I'm lonely. I'm tired. I'm worn down. I feel disconnected from the world. Lord, what do you want from me? And then last week, he just drops this in my lap, like, oh, well, I want you to do this. And then this is a lot of work. I mean, we're talking 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's going to be something like 1,800 videos by the end of the year. Like, that's a lot of work. I'm like, okay, God, well, then the fears start, the worries, like, where's my rent going to come from? Where's my food going to come from? Where's my bills? If I'm, if I'm not working a job, God can provide. And then God woke me up the other day. This is a month ago. I woke up and God was like, I'm a God who makes manna fall from heaven. And that's all he said. Like, he's like, I make manna fall from heaven. And I got the message. I'm like, okay, you make manna fall from heaven. You can he's provided for me for 6.5 years in like bizarre, weird ways. Like, throughout the book series, I'm just writing about this provision and that provision, and God's done this and God's done that. And it's been amazing how he's supplied. So I'm just be obedient to whatever God has you do. Fall headlong, like, fall into his glory and let God provide for you, because there's no other way to live. It's just the best. And a lot of times he'll provide a job for you to work. Then he has a specific reason for you to be there. Maybe it's the job you're at right now. And God's like, you need to stay where you're at. And then that's the hard part, because the people are difficult. Life is hard, and God has something for you to do. I'm going to do something with this connection thing. Okay, back to the artwork now that I'm lessons done for the day. I want to do just arrows connecting. Maybe that'll be simple enough. I hold my breath a lot, I realized, while I draw. I don't know if it's like I'm hoping that connection. Okay, what do we think? Connection. I'm trying to leave these word pictures real simple, because it's gonna be a collage of all the word pictures, so I don't want to get it like too what kind of colors did we? Oh, let's use the gold for the arrows. So my encouragement to you is trust the Lord. Whatever you do, whether it's working a job, supporting your family, your relationships, whether it's parenting, whatever God has you doing, just trust him, get close to him, give him your your no and your nothing, you know, even when you're struggling to obey him, you know, he gets that. Just I have had to give him that so many times, and there's so many times he's asked me to do stuff and I've been like, and just stumbled through it, like not been able to do it. Like I can't, there's some things he's asked and I'm like, I don't know what color to use. I think I'm gonna use yellow. I'm feeling yellow. There's moments that I'm just like, I don't, oh, this is the blue side. Okay, are we doing blue, yellow? I just struggle sometimes with obeying God. You know, sometimes it's too much. Like what he asks me, I'm not ready for. And I don't know if that's like, and I know I'm missing out, right? Maybe missing out on a blessing. These letters are not thick enough for color, but we're going to do it anyway. But I just keep going. I keep going on, and I'm like, God, I know I failed you. I couldn't obey you then, but, you know, let me get to know you more and let me trust you more and give me something else to do, you know. And he's always been faithful, you know, to forgive me for my failing to obey him, and taught me something through it and used it for good in my life and in the future when it comes to time again. And he's like, okay, I want you to do this. And I'm more able to, like, if you read the books, God didn't start off, he asked me to give everything away. That's how he started, you know, this whole obedience journey. This blue and this yellow is driving me crazy. He was like, the giving away everything, he started with like, okay, I want you to give away your TV and your game systems. Okay, cool. Well, I gave those away. I didn't have anywhere to plug them anyway. I was living in my car. And if you read the journey, it was like little by little, as I obeyed him, he asked for more, you know, or he took me down that's the journey that led to these moments and these videos, is obedience after obedience after obedience, leading to more obedience. So the more I obeyed God, the more that he could trust me with other things, you know, with bigger things. And like, I don't think I would have been able to make the decision to leave my family and friends. And you know, I was comfortable living on a farm in Texas before I came here. And God was like, I want you to leave all of this and go to where I'm sending you. And I didn't have any clue where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I just knew I had books to write. And I was like, I had to take a couple of days because he was like, you're not gonna come back. And I was like, okay, well, and sometimes I don't know if God tells us stuff because that's what's going to happen, or if it's like, consider this, you may not come back. Are you willing to do it if you don't come back? You know, whatever, I got the message, and I was like, okay, so I had to think about it for a couple of days. And then I was like, okay, God, I'm all in. I want to serve you because my own way doesn't work. So I want to follow your way because your way is the only way. And so I did, and led me all the way to here to produce these videos. Like, you just look at the journey and you can read it through the book series. That's why I love the book series, because I can go back and I can, like, God will have, like, this is the fourth witness testament, one of the books. And I'll go back and I'll just read what God was doing with me. And it's so encouraging, like, to me, to be like, oh, he was preparing me for what was coming next. And I can read back and see that and go, oh, well, you know, he's got my back. And so that builds trust with him in a relationship. So my connection with God has grown over the 6.5 years. So that's this video, and this is the artwork, Connection.